If you've got kids in their 20s or 30s, maybe even their 40s, I want you to send them this video. Not because I said so, but because I want you to share with them this advice from NYU professor and New York Times bestselling author, Scott Galloway. Let's check it out.
Whereas before, when I got shot in the chest in 2000 with the dot bomb explosion or implosion and the great financial recession in 2008, I almost never could get up again. I mean, I came very close to just never getting up again. So focus, find what you're good at, double down on it, diversification, stoicism, save more than you or spend less than you make so you can save, and appreciate just how powerful time and compound interest is. And then it's all wrapped in, and I didn't know how to put this into equation, but I call wealth a full person project. And that is, there's a myth that really wealthy people crawled over other people to get there, that they're billionaires lighting their cigars with $100 bills. That's
in this clip, Scott is talking about his book, The Algebra of Wealth, or the equation that he created or is using to illustrate how to create wealth for yourself. And we're not going to dive into that entire equation, but there are two key things that I want to hone in on. And it's some of the advice that I continue to give younger people when they approach me about getting started in their career and what they should be doing. And also, it's a time-tested principle of just being patient and disciplined and doing the right things, compounded over and over and over time. They tend to lead us to finding the best overall results. So first, let's talk about time and hear what Scott has to say specifically about that.
Strategy answers one question: what can I do that's really hard? That's basically leaning into your advantages. When you're young, you have one advantage: you have time. Most young people who are 25 don't really recognize two things. One, they're probably going to be here for another 80 years at this point if they're 25 right now. And this is the hard part, one of our species' great flaws is that because for the majority of our time on this planet, we haven't lived past 35, we just can't calibrate time. It's just like, I look at you and I immediately think, oh, I'm his age because I was 30 or whatever the you are.
It's going to go a hell of a lot faster than you think, right? If you don't believe me, ask your parents. If you're a young adult watching this video and your parents sent it to you, ask them about how fast time goes by. Watching your kids grow up is the most mind-blowing thing I have ever experienced because it is a clear marker of how quickly time is passing. And if you're an adult, you already know this, right? If you've got adult kids or you're watching grandkids grow up, man, time just goes by so fast. But the thing is that if you're a young adult, one of the things that a lot of younger people are feeling right now is this pressure that you've got to have everything figured out and that you've got to be successful like tomorrow. And the truth is that it is a process. Just like building wealth is a process, like getting up, getting yourself established, getting out on your own is a process. The key is you have to keep working at it and working at it. Hopefully the message that you could take away from this video is that time can be your enemy or it can be your friend. And if you are getting up, getting yourself motivated, getting yourself out there, trying to do the right things, being disciplined, but also giving yourself grace and being patient with yourself, understand you've got time. Everyone loves to point at Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger from the Berkshire Hathaway team as being two of the greatest investors of all time. Well, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, Charlie has recently passed, but both of these gentlemen lived a very, very, very long time. So don't think that, oh man, I'm 25. I got to have it all figured out by the time I'm 26, or I got to be wealthy and be financially independent and free by the time I'm 27. Putting yourself on that type of treadmill, in my opinion, is only a recipe for anxiety and stress and a lot of really not good things. One of the great byproducts of building something or working towards something is the person that you become in the process. So don't try to shortchange yourself. Don't believe that you can just microwave your way to wealth. That is a road to heartbreak. Now, you might be asking, okay, well, what should I be doing, or how can I get on this path to being financially successful? How can I be on this path to, building financial wealth for myself or financial independence or eventually a retirement in the future? Let's hear what Scott has to say about that.
The algorithm itself, or the equation itself, is the following. The first is focus, and it goes back to what we said earlier. Find something that you're naturally good at that you can become in the top 10 or top 1% in an industry that has a 90+% employment rate, and focus on it. I hate side hustles. Side hustle is fine for exploration. If you're not happy with your main hustle and you can't give it up because you need the money, but it's exploratory. And if your side hustles are going on too long, it means you got to change your main hustle. Because I would bet, and I'm fairly confident the research shows this, that the incremental 10 or 20% effort reinvested into your main hustle will provide greater return than the distraction caused by an incremental side hustle.
So the first piece that he lays out in this equation is focus. And there's a lot of people that talk about focus without really defining what focus is. But I love that he actually gives a little bit of direction. And he really drills into this in his book. And it talks about finding what you're good at, not necessarily what you're passionate about. Each of us is gifted, that we have gifts that are given to us that are uniquely ours. And part of our job is to find out what those gifts are. And I believe that when we find those gifts, we can lean into that. Now, that is not the same thing as what you're passionate about. I'm very passionate about basketball, but I didn't get to be a professional basketball player. There was a time where I really thought I had a chance, but that wasn't what my path was. And so I'm not talking necessarily about what you're passionate about. I'm talking about what you are actually really good at. What can you excel in? What fields of study, what career trajectories can you establish yourself and be really, really good in the top 10% of that field, and apply yourself diligently to that. One of the examples that he gives in other interviews that Scott has done is he says, I don't know anybody that was ultra passionate about international tax law and tax accounting. I know no one that was passionate about that. He goes, but you know what? The very best international tax lawyers and tax people, they fly private. They live very, very good lives. And you know what? They've come to be passionate about international taxes and tax laws because it's something that they're very, very good at. Now, I know that this may not necessarily land wonderfully because we grow up and we're told and we're taught to follow your heart, follow your passion. But I think that that's really bad advice, because what you are passionate about may not be where your talent lies or what you're really, really good at, and where you can establish yourself and you can create wealth, financial independence for yourself. So you know what? Maybe you're passionate about music. Maybe you're passionate about sports. It's okay to be passionate about those things. But if that's not where your true talent lies, part of your job is to find it. Find where your talent can bring you into the top 10% of your field, of the recruits in your field, and really work diligently toward that end. The last piece that we'll bring it back to is understand that this is a process. Just like building wealth is a process, planning for retirement is a process, investing for 20, 30, 40 years is a process. You have to give yourself time to let the compounding of good activities, good discipline, good habits to compound over time. So understand, just like your parents, or even if you're watching this video and you're trying to get something out of it for you and you're preparing for retirement, just remember this. I tell everybody in our retirement classes that retirement is 2 people for 3 decades, for 30 years. So just like we're preparing our younger adults to get out in the world and understand that they've got their entire life ahead of them, it will go by faster than they think, so they don't want to waste it. But at the same time, they need to not give themselves so much pressure that they don't know what to do. The same thing goes true for those of us that are preparing for that next season in life. I understand there's going to be time. Think about what you want that next season to look like. What hobbies do you want? Do you still have a talent or a skill that you can bring to the marketplace and earn money or find fulfillment? All of these things matter. But the biggest things that I want everyone to take away, especially because I've had a lot of questions lately from folks wanting us to talk to their young adult children who are trying to get established in life. And I realize this is a real issue in our country where we have a lot of kids that are graduating college in the world of AI, and they're having a hard time finding themselves in the job market or finding a way to get established. Or maybe they're even finding success and they're making real money and they just don't know what to do. Having some structure, but number one, like have some focus. Understand where your focus and your talent should be going. Forget the side hustle stuff. That is oftentimes a distraction. Don't necessarily focus on following your passion. Find what you're really good at. And then number two, give yourself grace. You're going to have time. You're likely going to live longer than any generation that we've seen before you. So know that. Take care of your health, but at the same time, don't think you have to have everything figured out tomorrow. Give yourself opportunities to let time work for you. Don't let time work against you. Hey, if you find this to be helpful or you think that this message resonates, go ahead, give us a like on the video because that really helps us out with the algorithms and helping find and reach new people here on YouTube. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.